Well, good evening, everyone. Welcome to my channel. Welcome to Notefellow. I hope you guys are having a good day. I've had a good day, and I'm interested in talking about notes. So, as you can tell by the subject title, Learn How to Be the Bank, this is going to be an introduction to note investing. And we're going to talk about what it means to actually be the bank. What's that actually look like? So, I'm going to step out of the way and I'm going to show you my presentation, and we're going to walk through it and have a bit of a conversation. If you have some comments or questions, leave some comments. If you end up watching this video in a replay, leave some comments after you watch the replay. Let's get this started. So this is an introduction to note investing, as I said a minute ago. And we're going to go through this and talk about notes and what that actually looks like. So the first thing I want to cover is there is no such thing as a safe investment, according to the SEC. And always check with your advisors. The following presentation is not tax, legal, financial, or investment advice, and Notefellow is not endorsing any products, services, or investments. So why note investing? Well, as I said before, the goal is to become the bank. Some of the largest buildings in a city are bank buildings. Have you ever noticed that? Have you ever looked? Do you ever go to downtown Chicago or Dallas or any major city? Some of the biggest buildings in that city are owned by banks. And that always made me wonder, well, what are the banks doing? And is there any way that I could do something similar? Maybe not on the same scale at first, but how do I do some of the things the banks do? Well, we're going to cover that today and give you a little bit of an introduction of what that looks like. So, first of all, let's talk about our current market conditions. So, in 2021, 2022, right now there is $5 trillion sitting in just money market funds alone. This is the biggest pile of cash ever. This is just dry powder. People don't know where to put their money. Over the last 15 or 20 years, if you've had a retirement account, well, maybe it's felt like this picture, like a roller coaster. And you realize in 2008, the market lost 37% in 1 year. And this resulted in many people exiting retirement and having to re enter the workforce. I don't know about you guys, but when I'm retirement age, I really don't want to have to go back and get a job at being a Walmart greeter or whatever you end up having to do when you're in your 70s or 80s. That just does not sound like fun to me. Once I'm retired and a retirement age, I want to be hanging out on the beach. I want to be relaxing and enjoying my life and my family. So, what do we want? We want investments that are steady and consistent, don't we? You want to know that what your money is doing while you're working, while you're spending time with family or vacationing. And just as an example, so if you had $25,000 that you invested in a note that paid 10% interest for 240 months or 20 years, and you had a payment of $241 per month, you have that payment coming in every single month like clockwork. You're not losing any of your 25,000. You're just gaining interest every single month until the principal is paid off over the course of 20 years. And if you've ever looked at an amortization table on your house, if you've bought a house, what is the front end look like? It's heavily loaded in interest. The first few years of your payments, the bank is getting their profit up front. They get their principal back at the end and they get their profit up front. That sounds like a winning deal to me. And that's why I got into note investing. So, what is a note? We're talking about notes. This is a note. Have you ever heard of this called a Federal Reserve note? I think somewhere on there it's actually printed Federal Reserve note. Or what about a check? This is also another type of note. It's a promise to pay. What about when you buy a car? Most people finance their cars, and you're signing a note or a promise to pay when you finance your car. And then you have mortgages, the thing we're really here to talk about and focus on today. So let's look at the mechanics of a mortgage note in regards to a home purchase. So you have terms of the agreement. You have the principal, the interest rate, your monthly payments, an amortization term, and a buyer who then signs the note agreeing to make the payments on a monthly basis for that term, if that's 20 years, 30 years, whatever that term happens to be. So another way to look at how a note works is you have the mortgage note we just looked at. So that's your promise to pay a bank loan. You have the house on the right, which is a collateral for the bank loan. And then you have the home buyer that sends the bank loan payments. The bank owns the note or the piece of paper, and the home buyer owns the house. And this is key. We'll see this in a slide coming up here in a second. So let's compare rental property versus owning the note. And let's kind of do an apples to apples comparison. Let's see what this looks like. So this is a note I happen to own, and these are numbers right off of one of the notes that I own here in Dallas. So you have a home value of $141,800. The original note was $101,900 at an interest rate of 8.5% and a term of 357 months. The monthly payment is $785. 32 payments had already been made prior to me purchasing this note. This is also known as seasoning. This way I was able to actually get an idea of what the borrower's propensity to pay would be. I could see that. Do they miss a month here or there? Are they very steady on their payments? In this particular note, they have been very steady on their payments. So this has been a very good note for me. The note balance that I purchased was $85,900, and I receive a payment of $785 per month. Now let's take that same house and let's make it a rental and see what the numbers may work out as a rental. So we have the same purchase price, but now I'm looking to get a loan to be able to acquire this house. I'm going to have 20% down, or $28,000, and then I'm going to have to get a loan. So you figure $117,940 at 6%. And my PI and TI is going to be $1,000. So principal and interest and taxes and insurance all together. I looked up the insurance on this, and it's going to be $1,018 a month. Now, according to Zillow, this house could rent for $1,500. I'm not sure how accurate Zillow would actually be in this area, but 1,500 is what it said, so that's what we're going to go with for the example. And it gives you a gross profit of $481. Now, there are some things that are recommended to keep your rental in a healthy condition, such as $150 a month for repairs, or approximately 10% of your rent. And then property management is about 10% also. So there's another $150 for that, leaving you with $181 a month in profit. Now, that very well could get wiped out if you had something major go wrong with the house. It's an older house. I think this house is about 80 years old. So there's no telling what could possibly go wrong with it. And a little piece of advice here. So you can avoid tenants and toilets with note investing. And you can pay a service provider to collect the payments for you for a flat fee. It's usually around $35 to $50 a month, but it's not a percentage, it's a flat fee. And I like the idea of not having to deal with tenants and toilets. If something goes wrong with your house and you've got a loan with Wells Fargo, you don't call Wells Fargo to fix your house. So for me, that was huge. So I know what you may be thinking. What if they stop paying the note? Just flat out stop paying. Well, the home is valued at 141,000 and you invested 85,000 for a first lien position on the property. So you have a couple of choices you can do in this situation. You could restructure the debt to a willing and able borrower. So if the borrower in the home, maybe they've hit a hardship. In fact, during times of COVID, I had a couple of notes where people did hit hardships and they did get behind 2 or 3 months, 4 months. But you know what? They got jobs. I worked with the servicer. We reached out to the borrower. They were able to get replacement jobs and get back on their feet, and they were able to catch up all their payments. Because again, you're not dealing with temporary people in the house. You're dealing with someone that has skin in the game. They have equity in the house because we're in this time of the market where people aren't upside down on their homes like they were in 2008. Most people have equity in their homes. And then there's also the foreclosure process. If you just cannot work out something with the borrower and the borrower just refuses to pay for whatever reason, then you have the foreclosure process. And since you have a home that's valued at 141,000, and this is an as is value. This isn't all fixed up and pristine. This is a as is value. So I'm in a pretty good equity position on this note. And if something were to happen and I had to take the house, foreclose on it, and sell it, I would get my money. In fact, I would get a little extra. So the good thing about notes is that they're hands-off, passive investing. It allows you to grow your retirement, create financial freedom, maybe even leave a financial legacy for your children. You can will your notes. If something were to happen to you, you can put your notes and all those payments into a will and transfer those to your children. You could pay for college in the future. Of course, create family wealth. Because as you stack these notes up, you're not going to become wealthy by buying one note. You need to acquire more notes over time and build up your portfolio. And then also giving. If you have your favorite charities, if you have more money coming in, you have more freedom to give to those charities that are important to you. So, what's our takeaways? What's going to be our action items or action steps from this? One is to review your investment goals and determine if note investing is a strategy that may fit with your investment goals. And set up a one-on-one appointment with Notefellow to assess your needs, get more information about what your situation is, and to get started with note investing. And I'm going to tell you in a couple of slides on how to reach out and get in touch with us. You could also go to the Notefellow TV YouTube channel. I took a snippet from my YouTube channel, and you can see I have several videos that cover a wide range. It's notes versus wholesaling, notes versus the stock market, notes versus rental, notes versus rehabs. And these are short 4 or 5 minute videos that really go into a little more depth and explanation about some of the pros of notes over other traditional forms of real estate investing. And then there's even a couple of investor presentations that are longer than this one. I'm going to keep this short today, that go into a bit more detail or give a few more different examples about note investing and some different examples of how you can do that. Because with notes, there's a lot of ways you can slice up the pie. So here's my website. My website is notefellow.com. And you'll see I've got the orange box. I have a green circle around schedule a strategy call. If you'll click this button, this gives you access to my calendar. You can schedule a one-on-one call, and we could do it over the phone or we can do it via Zoom. If you'd like to have a face-to-face, I have no problem with doing Zoom. Do Zoom calls all the time, no problem with it. And that's really it for our presentation today. I know this was kind of short and sweet, but the intent was to put just a little nugget in your mind and get you thinking about note investing if you're not familiar with it and what we could do with that. because note investing is very powerful. As things happen in the world today, the stock market is so up and down. Note investing for me has been good. I've been investing in notes for a few years now, and I honestly say that I'm still very excited about it. I'm excited going forward. Even in today's climate, I'm probably more optimistic than ever about the possibilities of note investing. So I hope you had a good, this was educational. I hope you enjoyed it. And we're going to do these every month. So I'll be back again next month. If there's a particular topic that you want to cover regarding notes, or maybe a question, leave me some comments and I'll look at your comments and maybe I'll make a special video to cover a particular topic for next month. So again, thank you so much for your time. I hope you enjoyed it and look forward to seeing and speaking with you later. Bye, everyone.